You can look at what he does regularly. You can look at when you give him certain looks, what he's going to do, and you can game plan for him. And I think that's what's happening, right? You know when he's going to run. You know he's going to take the chance. And I think because he's not managing the game, he's looking to make the play with his feet sometimes and be that all-world person. I think that works against him.
Yeah.
If he played more within the
But you're
construct
answering
of
my
off.
questions.
But
You're answering my
I know,
question.
but he hit the
He's not
man.
going on a line.
He hit
He's
two.
not seeing that this guy's blitzing.
He hit two
So
people
instead
in
of
the
calling out of
hands.
that play,
Yeah.
calling out of that play, he stays with the play because he feels I can pick it up with my
I
feet.
know, but he
That's
hit
what I'm
Mark
saying
Andrews
about
in the
his
hands, Trav.
intelligence as a quarterback
Dude, is
that
that what is
holds him
that? What
back.
is that though? Is that just your overconfidence in your ability, or is that not you're just playing within the offense? Like
He's playing within the offense is what I'm
how many
getting at.
times is he going off script? Like I'm gonna like I got the play calls for me to look at the circle route and the tight end 1-2 reads right,
Hmm.
and if that's not there, I need to make a decision and throw it away. I think when that
It's the
happens,
read on the line. It's the read on the line. And here's what I'm getting at. So when Josh Allen sees the same thing that's going to happen to him as a Lamar Jackson, Lamar drops back and he's trying to look for something to work because he's sticking in that scheme. Where Josh Allen's like, okay, I'm going to call the same play, but I know they're blitzing me. So I'm going to drop 2 steps and then I'm going to take off because I know what they're going to do. Because he can read a defense and he can check from that. He'll stay in his formation and he'll go. Why do you think he's more successful? He's slower, he's not as athletic, but he'll get as many yards as a Lamar Jackson scrambling because he sees what the defense are doing where Lamar can't. He can't pick up on those things like
Okay,
the regular.
so let's get to that
And
part.
Patrick Mahomes the same way too.
Let's get to that
He can
part.
read it.
We're gonna get to the season wrap up now. So just a few weeks ago, we found out that Josh Allen won the MVP over Lamar. What do y'all think about that?
I say BS.
I mean,
Personally.
let me tell you something. Lamar threw for almost 4,000 yards and ran for almost 1,000 yards, and his numbers are better than the year he won the other MVPs. Now, how is it? Is it that they just don't want the same person winning again, or what? And then they
So
try
here's
to.
the thing.
It's either stats or this person is more valuable to your team. What do
Here's
y'all
the
think?
thing. Here's the thing. And I have this one with okay, so a defensive player can get a record season in sacks and won't get defensive player of the year. I think they don't want to acknowledge this person's career at the end when they're thinking about putting him in the Hall of Fame. Because Lamar Jackson, and let's face it, and this is more what I'm telling you about. This guy is a phenomenal regular season player. We said the same thing
But
about him, Mike
but
Vick.
but the
But
MVP is a
here's the
regular
thing: you
season
can't.
award.
But hear me out though. He can get 12 seasons worth of MVPs because of the way he plays. And it'll eliminate everybody because no quarterback's going to do what he does. They're not going to get the yardage. They're not going to get those plays because here's the thing. Just like you game plan against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you game plan for Lamar Jackson. You put so many spies on there that you leave single coverage for his receivers, so he's going to get those yardage. And then when something breaks down and he's scrambling to find something out, he's going to run. But the one thing different from him that separates him from everybody else, he's running like a wide receiver. He's got the speed of a receiver. So you're not going to get a quarterback. It's sort of like the Mike Vick
So
syndrome.
my question,
I
Chris,
like what you said.
my question, Chris,
It's true
Chris, is why didn't he win MVP? He had the
because
stats.
they can't give it to him every year.
I'll answer it. I'll answer your questions, just G, my ninja. But I think it goes back to the definition of MVP. Like, so what does that mean? That is the most valuable player. So I think what we introduce when we think about that is like, what are the intangibles that they're bringing? What are the off schedule plays when the plays break down and they're able to make that play? What are the things that they bring to the team and bring to the league and bring to maybe their potential for I guess a Super Bowl that they do that is so much different than what your your average, or not, I say not the average, but your superstars can do. So the most value, I agree that Josh Allen was prob the most valuable player. I
I
think
disagree.
plays need when plays need to be made, he made them. And I would say this, even in the championship game against the Chiefs, I think he made those plays.
Yeah,
I think that he got the first down when they did the tush push thing.
I agree with him on that.
I think he made those plays, and I'm not sure that the outcome. I don't know if Buffalo's in the playoffs, if the outcome would be different. I don't know. I think that
Well, I
I think
disagree
I
on
think
both
I
fronts.
think he was better than Lamar Jackson. I think he played with less talent. I think he
I agree
played
with
I
that.
with
agree
a
with that.
lesser defense, and I think he elevated his team up to a championship contender with on a Brett Favre level. And I can speak to this personally because I've seen like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers win consistently and because you're winning, you don't bring in the top talent because your draft position is lower, right?
Yeah.
I can speak to that, and that's similar to Pittsburgh, right?
Well,
They've
let
been
me.
winning all this time, and they so to win with a patchwork offense and a patchwork defense and still get there is great. Which is why I think that Patrick Mahomes is a good thing.
Well, listen. Let me just say one thing about this, okay? Because the reason why I'm saying I disagree with the Lamar Jackson and uh, Buffalo getting it, because Allen shouldn't have got it either. The guy I thought should have even been in the conversation. We devalued the running back position. They're not even paying running backs as a key role. They don't focus on those guys. They're not doing anything.
So who
We have
said
a guy who ran 2,000 yards, took his team to a Super Bowl. For the last 7 games of the season, Hurts threw for under 200 yards, and they still got to the Super Bowl. The MVP, who contributed the most to his team, should have been Saquon Barkley, but nobody even put him as a whisper to be in
It's
there.
just never been a running back award.
It hasn't. Barry Sanders got
I
it.
know,
Walter
but
Payton's got it.
it
I
just
mean, Emmitt Smith got it multiple
I know
times.
it.
I mean, so if you want to say
That's
something,
when running backs
who
were
did the
popping.
most? Who was the true MVP and did the most for their team?
That's
When you
been
can say that a
that? Josh,
quarterback can't even throw
Josh,
for 200 yards in a game for 7 straight games and still get to a Super Bowl,
oh.
that's unheard of. And we're not even talking about
when you
Saquon
when
Barkley
you're
being in the
when you
conversation.
that though, when you don't have that and you still get there, isn't it tough?
Take Barkley out of the scenario. Does Philadelphia go to the Super Bowl?
Who
No.
is Buffalo's running back?
Cook.
Hey, that's my point. I
You know
agree
what I'm
with you.
saying?
But
Who is
but
that dude?
you
Cook.
tell me a
James Cook.
quarterback that goes to you
Bradley.
tell me a quarterback that wins 7 straight games with under 200 yards passing. Tell me a quarterback who's done it in NFL history without a running back.
I don't know. This year, Mahomes was probably
Never been
I,
done.
Mahomes' lowest yards probably been
Never.
this year because the defense carried the Chiefs this year. It was
But you
all
know what
defense.
hurt him though? Kelsey underperforming. I'm not gonna lie to you.
bro, let's get back
Yeah.
to this topic. So, I disagree with what you're saying. I disagree.
Okay.
Saquon should have been an MVP. He's dealing with light boxes. They the when the Packers played Philadelphia twice. Their
Mm-hmm.
main concern wasn't Saquon. Their main concern was Jalen Hurts off schedule plays and being able to beat rushers and just run through open rush lanes. They wanted to contain him. That's what it is. It
Okay,
was
so let me ask you a question though. With the production of a Saquon Barkley, if you put anybody else in that position who threw for under 200 yards in a game, the Eagles are probably still winning games. Josh Allen, you take him out of the scenario. I hear your argument there. I hear it with Lamar Jackson. But what did the Eagles do without Saquon last
But
year?
but but Travis, I think you're dismissing the Eagles' defense too, man. Because look at,
yeah.
come on,
No,
let
their
me get
defense, of
let me give you
course.
some names: Jake Delhomme, Trent
Mhm.
Dilfer, who else? Kaepernick, Alex Smith. These are dudes that went to the Super Bowl and they were basic game managers. If you have the good defense and
Let
a
me tell
decent
you
running
that
game, you
thing
can
too.
do it.
I'm so glad you said that. But you know who also led the league in rushing the year that Dilford went to a Super Bowl? It came from their team. It was their running back. So that's what I'm getting at. When you have a guy who's contributing in that sense, the second year Roethlisberger was in the league, and they get to a Super Bowl, it was on the back of the bus.
Yeah, but they never going to give that to the running back anymore. I
Three
just
Super Bowls,
That's
three Super
all us
Bowls do
brothers.
not go to Dallas without Emmitt
Back of the
Smith.
bus.
yeah
You know what I'm saying?
yeah
Those are
I just
Take
facts.
think they
Emmitt
could do.
Smith, take
Those are
Emmitt,
facts,
but
man.
Emmitt got two MVPs. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
but
they know that.
that was during the era of running backs.
So
Now
let me ask
the
you a
era's
question, and that's my whole point. The era of running backs. You know how many running backs ran for 2,000 yards? Six.
yeah
In a
Da-
hundred years,
Dude,
this guy does it. Their team
hold
wins
on.
the Super Bowl, and he's not an MVP.
Jalen Hurts was 17 to 22 for 221 yards, two TDs, and an interception. He
In
also
the Super Bowl, what
had
did he do
11
before the Super Bowl?
rushes for 72 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley had 25 for 57. Uh,
But that's just the
Patrick
Super Bowl.
Mahomes actually, if you take away the pick six, he had a good game. 21 of 32.
yeah.
In the fourth quarter with
A
those
lot
two
was the garbage,
touchdowns.
but yeah.
Yeah, it was the garbage.
He
It was the
also
garbage.
had garbage time, but he also had four rushes for 25 yards.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, to your point, Hunt had three rushes for 9 yards, and Pacheco
Mhm.
three
Yeah.
for seven.
Yeah.
You know,
So you're talking about in a whole entire Super Bowl,
yeah,
what, under 7 rushes?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
I
kills.
mean, but you're down by 34, man. That's all
No,
I can
I'm
say
talking
about that.
about what
I know
happened in
that
the first
changes the
half.
dynamic,
Where was the
right?
first half? You
Yeah,
can run in the first half.
I
Time
mean,
management,
hey,
time management for one.
hey.
You're making a defense think about what you're going to do
Yeah, no,
instead
but
of them
that's just
knowing what
norm,
you're going
man.
to do.
That's how the Chiefs beat Baltimore last year. They stopped running the ball. Teams get behind by 14 and they panic. And I didn't think the Chiefs would with Patrick Mahomes, but they panicked. They got
Hmm.
behind and they panicked. They stopped running the ball. I give them some little respect. They tried to run in the third quarter, but after the third quarter, they was like, if it ain't 3rd and 1, we're not running the ball. That's just the fact.
Yeah.
Agreed.
They wasn't running the ball.
Agreed.
Okay, so let's get to the wrap up. I want your thoughts on your team, Green Bay and the Steelers. What do you think about the season they just had, and what are the answers in free agency, and what are the answers? Pick on that.
I'll go first. So CT here. So uh, for the Packers, I think um, the Achilles heel was pass rush. I mean, they have Jeff Halfley. They brought him in. He brought in a defensive scheme where you have to get pressure with your front four, and the front four with uh, the guys that they had, they just weren't able to do it consistently. There was games where they had against lesser teams um, that they were able to get sacks and produce pressure, but there just wasn't enough. So, and then Jordan Love, he has some injuries. He's still an unproven commodity. In my we're basing his career off of essentially one season. So he had a struggle season. He coming in replacing Aaron Rodgers, and then they shocked the world and beat some great teams in the playoffs, and that's all good. And now we're saying, what have you done for me lately?
So what do
So
y'all need? What do y'all need to get over the hump?
I think they need additional defensive. They need. I think they need pass rush help. They need guys, dogs on the defensive interior, on the edge, and the edge rushers because that makes your weak cornerback group better. Right now, they're going to lose Jair Alexander. They're probably going to let him go in free agency or just cut him because he's only played like 8 games in 3 years or whatever. I forget the number. They have Keyshawn Nixon and they have Carrington Valentine at the other corner position, and those guys just aren't good enough. And so they're going to have to draft the top corner or sign someone in free. But for the defense to work, you have to be able to get there with 4 players. And right now, even with Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark, they just don't have those kind of dogs. Lucas Van Ness, who was a high draft pick, is not able. He just doesn't have the skill set to do it. So they're going to have to do that. And if they can do that, if they could give Jordan Love more opportunities, they're going to have some success, because I think he's talented. I mean, he's going to have to get into the off season and work on his long ball accuracy and work on that and that thing. But I think that they're always going to be a threat. I think they're a playoff contender. But for as far as what their needs are, I think it's pass rush, cornerback, and maybe a number 1 threat at receiver.
I was going to just say that.
Y'all not really paying nobody but Jordan Love. I mean, everybody else is kids, man. Everybody's like 25. I think they're the youngest team in the league.
Yeah.
I agree with him on every point, because one thing, Love proved that he can play quarterback. Everybody knows that. Yeah. Secondly, I do agree you guys need a solid number 1, and you got to tighten up the defense. If you tighten up the defense, because Love's in a position where he has to put up 30 points just to win a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because their defense is not helping him at all. Where there is a way for Green Bay to win every game in the season if their defense can hold people to 14 to 17 points a game, or even 21, because Love can put that on the board. But you guys need a solid number 1 in defense for sure. I agree 100% on your assessment of the team.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
they're a good team.
Yeah, let's talk about the Steelers, man. What's going to happen with Russ, and what's going to happen with Justin Fields?
So here's the thing, first and foremost, because I want to address this, because a lot of people in Pittsburgh hate on Mike T. My opinion about it is you don't have 17 winning seasons with a horrible coach, with the garbage he had to play with. One season we win 11 games with 3 different quarterbacks. No team's doing that. It's coaching that got him there. Last year, we played 2 different quarterbacks and got into the playoffs. But this is a fact that I know for sure. One, we need another person to help out Porter Jr. on the secondary, because our other side's trash. We need another safety to help with our defense, so we're not just relying on one safety to make us look good. Fact, which a lot of people don't understand, is Pittsburgh, when they draft a quarterback, they win 6 Super Bowl. I mean, there's no lie. We draft. The only 2 quarterbacks we drafted in NFL history. Terry Bradshaw. Pickett. Yeah, he plays for Philadelphia and got a ring as a backup. but seriously, we draft Roethlisberger. But we draft Roethlisberger and Terry Bradshaw. Those were the only 2 we drafted high in a draft. Because, when you get to the playoffs and you're picking 23rd, 24th, and that number 1 talent is like within the first 3 or 4 picks, you're not going to get a quarterback. It almost pays for us to have a horrible season. No, I mean, it almost pays to have a horrible season just to get that number 1 quarterback. But I also, because I think our defense, we got dogs, man, on defense.
Sam Darnold from the Vikings. That's their thing.
No, so here's the thing. When you bring a quarterback to a team like the Steelers, when they tell you